The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison. So what's Randy been up to?
It's been really up and down, a lot of discovery and a lot of challenges, but of which I've gone past. So yeah, it's been just life.
Between now and the last time that we spoke on the show, you throw in a bit of lockdown in there, you throw in a bit of the pandemic in there as well. Things must have been very hectic. Like, how did you actually maneuver through as an artist, of your caliber? How did you sort of navigate through the whole lockdown thing? Because I can imagine it's a brand new experience for not only yourself, but just everyone and your peers as well.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, I did not even have a plan of how to just get everything done. So even me coming this side, relocating, because I've relocated now.
Oh, wow.
So that just happened. And I think I've relocated about 3-4 times since the pandemic started. So it's like I just had to focus more on what was going on around me and with my life necessarily without worrying what's going on with the pandemic, because everybody is like, Scott, that's so much pressure with them and everything. And I had a lot more I had to figure in my head. So I just tried to make sure that, okay, maybe since I have space to juggle like a few things in my head, the best thing I could do is just focus on the things that really matter.
Just going into detail there, why 4 times and where did you go to? A lot of your fans and a lot of the listeners of the show know Randy McLlolan to be an artist that's based in Durban. Where are you based now and where did you move to? Why did you move so much?
I moved back home, well, basically my hometown, because it's like just I haven't been there for like over 6 years. So that's like a side of things that a lot of people don't know about me, of which at the moment I still wanted to just, slowly get people into the idea of who I am, not necessarily the idea, but who I am. Because the music for me, I feel like it's a lot. So for them to get to know me as well, they would have to catch up on quite a lot. So moving around was just a matter of I haven't been here a while. So am I comfortable where I am? Like I don't move around, like I don't go up and down. No, I'm not that kind of person. But I mean, just as long as I'm able to do everything that I need to at the time, it was that case. So the reason why I was busy moving so much is because I was really just sorting out a lot of my personal issues.
Now that is very beautiful, and I really just appreciate every time we have an opportunity to talk because I just remember how great that first interview was. Obviously, we had Uzita co-hosting it. Dan Phantom
Yeah,
was in there as well.
as well.
Producer Wako and
Yeah.
all that. There are these artists that you're still in touch with, at all.
Well, I will not lie. I am not in touch with a lot of people.
Mm,
Like, I just didn't want to. I realized that if you keep in contact with a lot that's going around, it's like you forget what's going on inside. So I've been kind of not in contact with a lot of people because I needed to I realized the reason why I was back here, of
mm,
which that was me to just get back to myself. And if I had to do that, I had to put away everything else that had gotten my attention for the past 6 years and focus on my family, focus on me, and focus on where I go on from here. Because as much as, yes, everything had been happening progressively
mm.
in Durban, I would like to believe it was not necessarily the way I wanted it to. So I just had to make sure that I don't make anybody feel like how can I put this? I didn't want anybody to feel like Randy is on and off.
Yeah.
I just decided to I literally just cut off, I just went off the grid in that sense. And that wasn't really even my choice, really.
Mm.
So that happened, like a lot of it happened. And I was just like, okay, I'm losing contact with people. It's like, okay, well, I'm not getting a chance to explain myself. So,
Yeah.
which means I'm not supposed to and whatnot. So the people who I kept in contact with were the ones who needed something or whatever the case through emails.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the case. But at the moment, since I'm back online and everything, well, I am back online. I'm just not talking much because throughout the whole process, up
Mm,
until now, I realized that I don't have to be that out loud to to get things done. So
mm, mm.
yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
You know, it does. It does. Like with the fact that you ended up home. Would you say that
Yeah.
you found what you were looking for? You did say that things were progressing when you were here in Durban, but not in the way
Yeah.
that you'd like. So would you say that, having been home during this period has sort of helped you find, that happiness or whatever it is that you need to deal with the personal stuff that had been going on?
To be quite honest, I wasn't even looking, like I said to you, I wasn't even looking, like I didn't plan to be here. So
Mm,
it's like the universe just forced me to be here. Well, necessarily my sister and somebody I knew, they
yeah.
decided to just actually I think it's probably time people started knowing me. Let me just
Yeah,
stop
go for it.
like
Let's not speak in codes. Let's
yeah.
just yeah.
I was not ready for this. Like I never thought I would be. But anyway, so I was a runaway as well. Like I ran away from home like 6 years ago.
Okay.
So when that happened, when I ended up coming back home, that was because my sister and somebody I knew, they decided that no, it's time now. She went back home, and if I tell her that she needs to do that, she keeps on saying she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it, and or else she's like, how am I gonna do it if I get home? Like, how am I gonna deal with the situation? Because my
Mm,
whole family is just they're not into the idea of music. Not necessarily that they're not. Like, trust me, like most of my family, they were in like upper music,
yeah,
like choir and everything. They
yeah.
were into the music. But the problem was the fact that when I got to Durban, I decided to move towards other things. I got distracted. I felt like, when you were a rebel child, no, I don't want to say a rebel child, when you're a black sheep type of a person,
Yeah.
you keep quiet when you're home and everything, and then when you get out, you just sort of get too excited and you just forget everything that you came for there. So
Yeah.
that was the case. So my family kind of like we got distance from the situation where I just forgot everything that I left behind. So when I got to Durban, it's like literally I lost me. I lost that part of my family. So yeah, so when I got this side, I didn't really even know that I needed to be like I needed this, but I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
it's been worth it. And yeah, I think I got the most thing that I needed the most. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And how was it,
Yeah.
returning, like going back home after all these years? I think you said something like 6 years or whatever. Was it more on like a
Yeah.
good note, like, oh, it's a really awesome homecoming after all the achievements you've had in Durban? Or was it more on like a sour note? Paint a picture.
I'm not gonna lie, it was very like everybody was skeptical. I was skeptical. The whole family was skeptical because I left and I was like a really angry person, like just not understanding why they wouldn't like support me because they know what music is like.
Mm,
Like it was bittersweet because I ended up being that person when I got here. It's like now we still have to talk about the things that we need to talk about or sort out, but I still had that same mentality that I had in Durban that I want to do this, I want to do this, all of that, blah 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 blah. But it's like, what foundation did I have to do all of that?
mm,
So when I got home, that's why I ended up moving like 4 times because
mm,
like I got home and then again the same thing happens. Like there wasn't much understanding. They felt as if I wasn't willing to change. I wasn't willing to see a different kind of me.
yeah.
And I was still in my bad behavior. A lot of people don't know about the bad behavior, but I was.
You look so
But
innocent.
yeah, well, that's the problem. Anyway, so yeah, so I ended up moving around. Luckily, this family is not the only family I have in this area. So I ended up moving with the rest of the other family. And the reason why I ended up coming back here, because this is where I first got, it's like I'm back where I started when I got here at first.
Mm,
It's because it's like literally the whole time through, I was worried that people aren't trying to understand me, and they just want what they want for me, not thinking, okay, what has she been doing this whole time and what has it done for her? And it was all like a lot of blame. So it felt like a lot, right?
Mm.
So it's what I needed. And it was a hard ride.
If you had to compare the Randy McLlolan that I first spoke to in that first episode that we had, with everyone else,
Yeah.
and the Randy McLlolan
Yeah.
now, what would you say the key differences are, if there's any at all? What have you learned? What has this experience sort of taught you maybe about yourself that you perhaps didn't know at that time?
The project that I did is like I focused on, like is
Yeah.
focused on. So it's pretty much I just literally it all went down on paper. I wasn't quite aware that that is what I needed to learn. At the time I was writing it out, I was in a different state because I was just coming from somewhere else. So I realized that everything that I wrote about, it gave me the solutions to all of those things.
Mm.
So yeah, I think we're still gonna go deeper in that, but then like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100%. And I like that you actually brought it up. The project, me Unshaken. You obviously dropped it, which would now be a month ago. Considering the time that this is happening and all the time changes and all
Oh
that.
yes,
So,
of course, yes.
hypothetically speaking, a month ago. Now, I want you to sort of go further into your explanation there.
Mhm.
Obviously, this experience had a lot of influence when it comes to Unshaken, as a body of work and as a project, which is, I feel like it's one of your most amazing traits, because you're able to paint. Even when you're speaking right now, you're actually explaining the whole thing well, and you're getting us into your world. So, Unshaken, tell me a bit more about it. You did mention there, which there was a bit of a struggle with equipment and whatnot. Let's start there. How did you sort of get over that obstacle?
Well, when I got the EPAC, I was still in Durban. I think it was quite early, but I was still in Durban. Actually, it was 2019 when
Mm.
I got it, around 20 October or something like that. So I didn't give it much thought. So besides all of that, it's like when I got home, that was the only time I got the chance to actually record.
Yeah.
And I was busy thinking, okay, I'm not in Durban anymore. And I literally always want to work. Like I really, really, really can't get over my creativity. So I even find myself just recording at times, just like I have videos on my phone, just to tell you like something off the topic. I have
Yeah.
videos on my phone recording things that I think I might create in the future.
Oh wow. Yeah.
just to make sure that I don't get over all of those thoughts and everything. So with the EP, it just so happened that I could not ask for help because I was working with a different producer, not necessarily working with him because he
Okay.
sent me the pack. So he gave me a reason to decide what I wanted to do with it. It could have been like really anything. I could have worked with anybody, whatever the case, but that was the situation then. So when I got home, I started just juggling. I'm not busy thinking, I'm not gonna be doing chores all day. Like, hey,
Yeah.
like we are in Zulu Natal, but hey, like we don't have to like Chanela the Pantes here, like
Yeah, yeah.
So otherwise, it's like once you're done with the chores, like the rest of your day, it's like you just have to watch TV and everything. And I hate that. I don't like watching TV. I could probably be doing the same thing, creating
Yeah.
something. So when that happened, a lot of people will not believe. Like I actually recorded the EP with my laptop.
Wow. Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So it was a crazy experience because I was really just trying out for the first time, like just trying. I've always wanted to create like beats and stuff and
Mm.
just record things by myself. There was a point where I got these recording apps. I got one from Dan Phantom before, and the only thing I could do was literally just record acapellas. And that was not enough.
Yeah.
Like that was really not enough. So when this came through, I was like, what? There's a beat, there's a voice, there's an enthusiasm, there's creativity. Might as well just do something about it.
Yeah.
So when I started, I kept on going through, like I had like demo versions of the projects. So I would just press on anything, just press to see what it says, like to see what it does and how it
Yeah.
sounds like and everything.
Yeah.
So I generally ended up being able to just okay, be like, okay, I thing is I knew, like I always know what I want it to sound like. So the minute I find it, that is when it makes sense. So besides that, it was a really like a lot of Scrabble, no idea what I was doing. But
Mm.
I figured when the equipment thing happened, it was it was only actually even happened while I was trying to create something new. Now this was after the project. This was, I think it took me about 3 months and I was done.
Wow.
And I had already done everything else. And that was the crazy thing because I was like, okay, this is just way too soon for me to finish. Like I need to continue keeping busy, you know.
Yeah.
So I just realized I just kept on going through my laptop. Then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me do this. Let me find instrumentals of which maybe that people have worked on or whatever the case. But let me
Mm.
find those, create something. Eventually, when I get the time to get a beat that I can work on, I
Mm.
can, like sandwich, it'll click, sort of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, okay, cool. But then I was like thinking, nah, it's too much of me working on my own.
Yeah.
And I met somebody who was actually willing and wanted to create their own brand, like their artist name and stuff. And they were really, really excited about it. So there's a track that I did with them only after. So now the thing is, during that recording of that track, we were actually done as well recording. I just did not finish mixing and everything.
Mm.
So I wasn't doing it at home anymore. I That was during the movement. That was like
Yeah.
after the second movement.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it was hectic because they had kids around. So the kid just went like, "Ooh," on my laptop and literally screen, everything just went separate. I was like, oh my gosh. And
No.
I swear to you, like it turned into a book. I
Oh,
don't know. I don't know how to explain it. So
I could cry
yeah,
right
that
now.
happened and that happened. Like I still look at my laptop nowadays and I'm like, you see, I will fix you one day, but for now, I don't want to look at you because I know it hurts. So
Damn.
the one thing I couldn't do obviously is ask somebody else to sort it out. I mean, he was a friend. The person I was working with was a
Yeah.
friend, sort of. So it was mainly his responsibility to make sure that the equipment didn't get played with and stuff because I left it with him.
Oh,
So when he told me the child did what happened, and I was like, okay, I can't really blame the child.
yeah.
And on top of that, I know he won't be able to like I can't expect him to pay for it while we're trying to sort things out. And on top of that, it's the pandemic. Like who's got the money?
Yeah, true.
So I just humbled myself and I told myself, okay, you know what? It's fine. What I just need to do is make sure that I get my works at some point, of which only after then there was like October and whatnot. I think it went up until somewhere last year when I actually stated on Facebook that I had a problem with my laptop, and then I told people that I would sort that out. But as much as I tried so much to fix all of that, it was like always something coming through.
Mm.
HDMI cable, all
Mm.
of this, all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a lot to do to get your works done, but what can I do? Because I really wanted my music out. So I just I tried to calm myself down
Mm.
and put it away. I think it took me about 4 months. And only then I was like, no, man, no, I can't live without this. I need my music.
Mm.
Like, never mind the music that I was busy working on, but just literally just my playlist and everything. Like I know when I'm in a certain space, I listen to certain music. So it was like, oh my goodness, no, I need to function with the music. So without that, it was kind of hard. It was the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it, I learned something, and my laptop is still chilling. So the obstacle happened, and life still goes on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the
Yeah.
most important decisions a person can even make about any releases is the actual release date itself. You know, why did you pick that specific release date for your body of work? Is there any like special, you know, something special behind that particular day, or was it just like, hey, I'm gonna pick a random day on the calendar, and your pen landed on, what is it, the 22nd? Is it the 22nd of March or the 23rd?
Yes,
Remind me.
yes,
Yeah,
22nd,
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
On the date thing, I considered what the project is about,
Mm,
and there is a reason for that holiday of which we celebrate people's human rights. Everybody deserves to have a right too, and that's mental health. Everybody deserves a right to have a healthy mental state, a healthy emotional state, and a healthy social state, you know? So that's why I ended up choosing that date, because I'm busy thinking to myself, it's like maybe if it's possible, whoever hears it would realize that they need the time. We always need the time to focus on ourselves,
mm,
like our how do you, I don't want to say inner peace, but like focus on the things that make us who we are. Yes, obviously on daily basis we do that. Like we always think about what's going on, but on a general case, it's like a lot of things happen and they lead to a lot of those emotional, mental, and social things to get disturbed.
mm,
So you end up forgetting and blaming other things and not forgetting that the whole reason why those things happen is because there was just a small certain thing that that probably happened and it affected this and you ended up being in that situation.
mm,
So for example, the situation with me and my family, it was like, for me it was an emotional state sort of thing, like me not feeling like I had enough support. It was like from that mental state I had a problem, and then after that I'm like busy thinking, okay, this is affecting my emotions now. After that, it affected my social environment, of which now I ended up going like somewhere else. So it
mm.
literally all felt like it was leading to everything else. So that's why I felt like the Human Rights Day is a good day to just properly, yeah, to reflect, sort of a
Yeah.
thing. So yeah.
That is something that hit me because sometime last year, I don't remember the month, but I got diagnosed with having anxiety, right? So for someone like myself, Clamper, who's got anxiety or has got any other mental health issue of some sort, you know, how does the Unshaken communicate
Yeah.
with them?
Uh, like in one of my posts recently, I did say the lyrics are kind of provocative. Like I'm trying to find a way to put it like
Mm.
right. Ne? I felt like I had to be bitter with myself because of the situations that were going around, so I can realize what I needed to fix. So for somebody with a mental state that you mentioned, it's
Mm,
like, as much as it might be a situation that it all of those kind of things get affected and they get influenced by what's going on around you, the first thing you have to do is realize what's what you have that you sorted out with yourself. If you come with a mentality of, let me hear what Randy has got to say,
mm,
it's going to be kind of hard, because that's not letting yourself be like, you know what, I don't know this person. Let me just hear what they say, which goes back to the point that I also featured people that I know. So
mm.
it kind of made it more personal. You will get what I mean when you hear the EP. Like
So,
it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna hit you.
so would you say then with that, I'm trying to understand, like, are you basically saying that, you know, returning fans of your music, you know, this is sort of like them seeing
Yes.
you in a different light, maybe? Or is this sort of something where someone needs to come in and sort of strip this idea that they have of the Randy that they know and sort of just, you know, get your perspective in this particular tape, like clarify?
Oh yeah, I thought about this. Yeah, the easiest way that I could probably put this out would be the fact that I'm a human first,
Yeah.
out of all things, before an artist. So back when I was in Durban, I was trying to create a brand,
Mm,
of which I had to be like, not necessarily pretend to be somebody else, but I could not be necessarily myself when I was doing the music that I did when I was in Durban.
mm,
So when I started doing this with Unshaken. Unshaken literally gave me space to be myself. So, which ended up making me go back to the thought that, okay, I decided to do the music that I do and call it something different, which was New Age Soul, because it needed to feel right.
Mm,
So, for people who had to listen to it now, it's like you would even see I've updated some of my bios. It's like it says, I make music for the soul. I
mm,
don't do just soul music. So I let myself be a human and also an artist at the same time. So that is literally just what it is. It's going to be easier. I think it's going to be easier for people to realize where most of the things are coming from, because I just accepted, the person that I am now, that I've realized myself to be now, is truly speaking about personal experiences. It's easier doing that than always trying to come up with, you see how the ideas of satellites and crochet, it's like those
yeah.
are exciting concepts and everything, but they're not necessarily straight up to the point what happens in real life and all of that. It's just some of them are just a few things. So I ended up realizing, like, no, I'm trying to grow myself. If I'm trying to grow myself, I'm trying to do the same thing with the people that listen to my music.
Mm,
So it's better if I am able to just be straightforward, then kind of always be straightforward in a fantasy kind of nightmare. Yeah, like I had that vibe before. Like I would talk about scary stuff or either like really like fantasy stuff. So I realized that there's no point to that. I'm not being real with my work.
I'm really loving this Randy, and I feel like I feel like we can't not really throw shade, but I feel like we can't discredit your previous work as well, because I feel like at this point it can
Mm,
be a good reflection of your growth. You've got something you can compare to, as in, like, this is what I used to do, this is what I
sure.
used to sing about, and this is basically where I'm at right now with my life. And it's basically there, and you see this contrast, and I feel like it served its purpose. It served its purpose. And as much as you're not on that type of wave anymore, your fans and people who've been following you and people who get onto your music later on now, but will be able to see, it's okay, this was actually the journey that Randy is on, and this is how she evolved and all of that there, which is very beautiful in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of strange because even when you say that, I'm trying to think to myself. It's like I, the part where the work I've already done cannot be discredited. I would not even imagine for such a thing to happen, because at the end of the day, it got me to where I am now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got me to discover this part of me. So I think that it is the reason why it made it much more easier to just get to this phase now,
Mm,
realizing and showing exactly that what I'm trying to do with my music is exactly happening with me.
mm,
I find myself every now and then and I change. I'm a human being at the end of the day. So that is literally what is going to happen every now and then.
yeah,
So it's like, even the music that I'm doing now with the projects, I'm probably not gonna, like, I don't think that's the end of finding myself. So
yeah.
you know, anything is possible.
That is true.
Yeah.
I was gonna follow it up. I did want to find out about the name that you gave this project, being Unshaken, but I feel like with the session that we've had, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Through all the difficulties and through everything that you've gone through. This reminds me of something that we spoke about with Zoe Modicha, and we had her recently, in that
Yeah.
people look at art and they interpret it in different ways. The way that I'm interpreting, you naming the tape, Unshaken, is with the obviously there's a lot that you've been through. The whole relocating
Mhm.
thing, the whole thing with your family, the mental health part that you were talking about, and in the
That is
end,
the
here
crazy
you
part,
stand.
though.
Yeah. What's the
That is the
crazy part?
crazy. No, it's the fact that even the title was not even about what happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
And,
Okay.
yeah, the title was because of the people who I knew, like the people that
Damn.
I featured on the EP. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the part where I realized my part, it's like, no, like, Randy, you can wait. Like, that was not
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
No. So it had to be about those people, because literally I made it about those people because I would have really, really not figured the things that I figured if it went for them. Like,
Yeah.
they were really real with me. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, they were real with me. Like, at some points where I felt like they were pressuring me, but literally at the time, it only makes sense now that obviously I was not in a mentality of wanting to progress. Like, I thought I was, but I wasn't doing it right. It's like I
Mm.
thought I wanted to move forward and grow, but figuring the fact that I was not really just like I was not able to communicate well with them. Like, they told me things that they felt straight up with me,
Yeah.
and I would get angry, get bitter and everything. So I was like, you know what? Thanks to these people for being just as real as they are, that I had to realize that I needed this change. So that is how the name came about. That they had to be like, I couldn't shake them.
Yeah.
So yeah, of which ended up teaching me to be like, yeah, but me being unshaken, like, like I'm a human being. Like, I'm a human being. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
Yeah.
if I'm willing to get through change and growth, that's one thing I realized. If I'm willing to get through change and growth, I realized that I had to be shaken. So
Mm.
me on my side, I'm shaken. I'm willing to be shaken. They
Yeah.
were unshaken. You understand? So I
Uh,
think that, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it definitely makes sense. And I think this also just, it sort of confirms the fact that, with Randy, it's never really you can never take anything at face value. You need to dive deeper. Like I said, the way that I interpreted it, as we just found out, was completely wrong, but I
yeah,
think that's the beauty of it, in that it's not as clear cut as one would actually think it is, and one would need to obviously also listen to the tape and get into it, to discover other things as well, which is beautiful. It means, Uwitsi, as an artist, you aren't just giving us just music for the sake of, you're giving us something we can go on a journey on,
yeah,
and interpret in different ways,
yeah.
and it's really beautiful. I'm just, for basically, we almost at the end, because you don't want to go too long and spoil the surprise and stuff. I really want people to actually get on
Sure,
the
for
tape
sure.
as well and
Of
listen to
course.
it. How many tracks are on the tape?
There is 5
Okay.
tracks. There's
Okay.
five
And
tracks.
and and
Yeah.
obviously and obviously with there being 5 tracks and it being like an EP and whatnot, is this a build up to something else? Like, is Randy at a point now where, she's maybe gonna be following up this EP with an even bigger body of work, maybe an album or maybe a motion picture of some sort? What is this sort of setting up initially?
At the moment, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm organizing my plan, and I'm still unsure which direction I want to explore, but I'm planning to open up my creativity well more, because I feel like I'm more comfortable in who I am now. So yeah, I have a lot of things I want to do,
Yeah.
but I can't just do them, just go like that. So anything can come up. And at the end of the day, it's like you can't really force situations. So for me, it's now about timing. It's
Mm.
like anything that makes sense then is gonna make sense then.
Mm.
So yeah, expect anything.
Keeping us on our toes. I love that. I love that. I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. You got that element of surprise. Anything can happen at any time. So I'm looking forward to that. One last question before, we get to the closing segments of the show is basically, is there any chance of you coming back, in Durban?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember in our last conversation, I told you that a lot of people, the problem with a lot of artists is because they're trying to stay in a place where they realize things are not happening for themselves,
Mm,
trying to force a situation, like hitting the same wall, and then they still know difference. I realized that out of the whole industry, I'm trying to create an industry for myself,
mm.
my own industry. So where I move and whatnot, I'm not gonna lie, it will be happening in my space, not necessarily hometown, but where I feel works for me then.
Thank you for, taking some time out of your Saturday evening and having this conversation with me. It's really good seeing you again,
Thank you.
and just
I was
knowing that
actually
you.
supposed to go to church, but today,
Whoa, you skipped church for this. Insane.
grandma is the reason why she's screaming out
Damn.
here. So, but but like
Yo,
we had a better understanding. So yeah,
yeah, damn. Okay,
yeah.
well, yeah, Flip. I really want to just thank you for joining me, and just airing it all out for me.
Thank you for having me.
And it was a really good experience. It's really nice to see that you're still pushing and making music. And I'm definitely one of the people who is gonna invest a lot of time in your tape. I'm super excited for that one, and I hope that everyone else does the same who's listening to this. So, just in closing, give us all your links and where people can actually find the Unshaken if they want to stream it or download it, where they can get in touch with you if they want to work with you, if you are even in a position where you want to work with a random or anyone. So yeah, give us those details, fam.
Okay, I don't know if people still remember. It's Randy McLlolan. So yeah, it's Randy McLolan literally everywhere. Besides Facebook, where you aid worldwide. And then on my emails, it's Randy McLolan bookings at gmail.com.
Away, 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 away. So any parting words for long-term stands of Randy McLolan before you go?
I will continue to do music and it will be happening at the right time. So you guys don't fuss, don't worry. When you need something, let me know. Because obviously I gotta do things for the people, you know? Like I'm not gonna just ignore you guys as if like you're moving my pace. So yeah, I'm still here. I'm still gonna be here. And there's a lot more to happen.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. So we're gonna be playing out with first. It's been a conversation with Randy McLolan. She's returning. We've learned a lot about her for the second time and what she's been going through, and it's been a really awesome experience. Catch this episode on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and obviously Spotify as well. We are Sludge Underground Podcast on Facebook. We are at Sludge Underground on Instagram at Sludge Underground and Twitter at Sludge031. As for myself, it's at Zwane031. And yeah, we're gonna be closing out with Randy McLolan's first right out of the Unshaken EP. Please do stream it. It's available everywhere where you can get music. And yeah, guys, it's been a really good one. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, it's bye for now.
Walk down the street, people like watch the shit out of you. Like they can actually sense your energy. And I notice all those things. I just never say shit.
I'm ready to take my path with those that share my drive. I'm here to live a dream. No need to follow fast. Don't want us to play Cupid. Have our tactics stupid. Can't acknowledge what truth is. It's the people I need. Making me run miles from the doubts I found. I'll motivate, rebound for all good in you. Make me wanna mind your business. Make you wanna pay me attention when the chance comes to laugh. Anything can console. Feels like this. Everything will pass over. Turn us first.
Believe that I'll do shit like killers and bird and like treatment bird and bird. Like that. I'm a church that shit. Like this is my life.
My grandma just got home. So sorry. Gran, again. I'm still at the meeting. Go for like a shit. Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Gran.